Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. Today we're going to talk about a recent case involving a gentleman who lives on the West Coast who made the terrible mistake of turning to eBay to buy a vehicle. Now, I know that many people have good experiences buying cars online and flying out of state, and I am a bit biased because whenever anybody calls my office, it is because something has gone terribly wrong. So those are the stories I have to share and the issues that I help people deal with. Nobody ever calls to say, hey, I had a great experience. I don't want to sue anybody and I'm happy. Those calls don't come here. But in this situation, it's a Maryland dealer that I've had experience with before several years ago. And what happened here is a used Toyota 4Runner with, low 100,000 miles was advertised online. Very nice pictures were put up. All the nice kinds of description. This car is great. It's been well maintained, low mileage. And what seems to be the selling point for these cars that are sold online, there are lots of pictures. Lots of pictures. They all look good. You might think to yourself, man, I wish that was my car. Look how good the tires look. Look how good the door trim looks. Oh, look underneath. The frame doesn't look rusty. It looks, nice and black and solid, and there's no holes in it. This might be the car for me. I've been looking for a long time. The price is right. All these good things. And that's, of course, what the ad, and of course, many, hundreds, in this case, hundreds of good reviews are designed to get you to think. And of course, why wouldn't you think that? There are hundreds of good reviews. The pictures look nice. And you might think, okay, this is the one. And of course, there's an option to contact the seller directly. And that's what ended up happening here. So my client calls the seller here in Maryland. All the right sweet nothings are whispered in their ear. And he goes ahead and puts down a $1,000 deposit. And, in looking at the deal, the first thing I see, one of the first things is it was a non-refundable deposit. And there was nothing in the ad on eBay about the car being sold as is. And if the car is not disclaimed, if the warranties, the implied warranty of merchantability and other warranties, if that is not disclaimed, then the car comes with it. But if you want to disclaim it, then you've got to state that the vehicle is as is, meaning the warranties do not apply. So anyway, the words as is were nowhere in this advertisement, which would lead a person to think, okay, I guess it comes with the implied warranties that should come with a vehicle when a dealer is selling it. So the $1,000 deposit is put down. After the $1,000 deposit is put down, that's when the rest of the paperwork comes. And the whole car itself is about $10,000 or so. And in the rest of the paperwork, I think on page 4 of 10, there's a little disclaimer that says as is. Now, do I think that's proper? Not having as is on the advertisement, only stating as is after somebody has put down a non-refundable $1,000 down payment? No, I don't think that's proper at all. And I think the court is going to agree if that's where it ends up going. But my client thought to himself whatever he thought and ended up going forward with the contract, and the vehicle ends up getting shipped to him. And of course, we're talking about this on the YouTube channel. So what showed up was not what was advertised. And what showed up was a very rusted Toyota 4Runner. And what's really interesting, I haven't seen this before, is there were areas in the photographs where on the door trim, it's nice and silver in the photos. But when it shows up, what does my client see but very rusted out areas right where it otherwise looks nice and smooth? And so, of course, my first thought is, well, rust doesn't occur that badly in a very short period of time. And my second thought is Photoshop. I think they Photoshopped it. So sure enough, when you look closely at the pictures that were posted online, if you zoom in and you look carefully, you can see, the colors start to look a little bit questionable, the different shades right next to each other. And of course, that's something that a digital forensic expert can figure out for sure. But to my basically untrained eye, it still looks pretty bad. So it appears that they photoshopped the rust out, and there's a word for that. It's the F word, fraud, and also violation of the Consumer Protection Act. And so we've now contacted the dealer and let them know that we need to get this thing unwound, or what has happened in the past is going to happen again. History is about to repeat itself. You're going to get sued, and probably then you'll do the right thing. What this brings to mind is, there's these are things to look out for when buying a car online. First, ask yourself, the market for cars is so hot right now. This is April of 2020. The COVID shortage, the microprocessor shortage, everything's a shortage. There's low supply, super high demand. So think to yourself, why is this dealer with this cherry car that's being advertised, why aren't they just selling it locally? Why are they putting it on eBay to sell it? Because you could sell it locally for a very high price, for a very good price, if nothing's wrong with it. And the reason is they're selling, at least I think in this case, they're selling the car online because if anybody actually went to the dealership to put eyes, no, dealership, I can't say dealership, the used car lot, let's be accurate, goes to this used car lot and looks at this car, they would say, I would rather light this thing on fire and watch it burn than take it out of here for free. Because when I look closely at it, I see it's rusted all over. When you poke your head underneath, and this is what happened when the vehicle was delivered to my client, he took it to his mechanic who put it on the lift. You could actually poke a hole through the frame with a screwdriver. It was all rusted. Very often what you see is the frame looks nice and black in the pictures, but there's been paint that's been applied. And really, when you scrape the paint off, you'll see that the whole thing is rusted out. It's Swiss cheese, not good. And it's just totally unsafe. Like this car could not pass the inspection on the West Coast in that state. And what happens is these dealers know, the dishonest dealers know, anybody that's going to look at this thing in person is going to see these defects right away. So you got to ask yourself, why is this car being sold online? What is wrong with it? Is it a classic vehicle that legitimately might draw a tremendous amount of attention? It's a collectible piece. Demand is going to be out of this world. And I think selling it online will give it to the widest potential buyers, and that'll obviously bring the highest price. But when it's a regular vehicle, like a 4Runner or a pickup truck or some sort of sedan or this or that, something pretty common, it's kind of a red flag. Why don't they just sell it right there? Why do they want it to go on eBay? Now, another thing to look out for, it's my understanding that eBay offers some protections to its buyers, but another red flag is once the dealer is contacted and then they pull you off and they get you to send a wire instead of paying through PayPal with whatever protections it provides, which is whatever it is, it's a lot more than a wire, because once that wire goes, you're done. Why are they pulling you off the website that they posted the car on? That's issue number 2. Now, the third thing to think about is a pre-purchase inspection. So with a pre-purchase inspection, you might spend $100, but you should be able to either, if you're out of state, get a mechanic, get the dealer to take it to a local mechanic who you have contacted and paid to do an inspection, or get a mechanic to go there and take a look at it. And of course, if the dealer selling this car online says, no, we're not going to take it somewhere, and no, we're not going to allow anybody to come inspect it, that's a huge red flag. So these are some things to keep in mind. And of course, if you buy something online, you want to make sure you have the title to it. You want to make sure the dealer has the title to it before you're going to go ahead and pay them, because that can be a whole nother nightmare, putting aside the condition of the vehicle. Do they actually own it to sell it to you, which can take a huge amount of time and expense to resolve. So these are some things to keep in mind when buying online. Why is it being sold? Get it checked out. Get that pre-purchase inspection performed, and really be careful. There's a reason why it's being sold online, and you don't want to be the one to discover that reason and find out that it's a terrible reason, and now you're out of pocket thousands of dollars and need to get counsel and sue the dealer and do all these things. It's better to just get that pre-purchase inspection and move on. if it's not what it looks like. And very often, unfortunately, that's exactly the case. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for watching. If you found this to be a good video, please subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments. I'll answer it as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching, and take care.